Welcome back. And so second half of this week, I started out by taking this lower door skin here and just putting it on the frame and sort of cleaking it onto the fixture there, or onto the frame, so I could run the machine and trim the top edge of that. And here you can see this is where it's basically trimmed. It's difficult to see, but basically it's nicely trimmed there, and same with the bottom edge of this top part of the skin. And we'll wait until we actually bond those skins into place before we trim the outside edges. But anyway, those bottom and top edges there trimmed nicely, and it's super handy having the machine to do such a nice job for us on that. Of course, I still had to sand them a bit, but anyway, those came out well. And this is that mold that the guys were working on last time. You see it's peel ply has been taken off, so it's ready for the next layers to go on there. But that's something they'll be doing next week, most likely. And here's Devon and Keith, and they're laying up the second one of these backside walls for the strake tank. So you can see just carefully laying the carbon fibre in there, and there's core to go, and then more carbon fibre, and then bagged again. And this is what it looks like when it's all bagged. So that's, under the vacuum there. And they didn't have any problems laying that one out. And you see actually Jeff put the vacuum gauge on there, so you can see that one's pulling, I think, it was about 24 inches of vacuum on there. And back on the doors here, that's the opening there, or the indentation there where the door handle goes. And we actually received our door handles back from the shop across the way who's doing our CNC milling for us on those. And so as you can see, it came out pretty nicely, and they're just aluminum. We're actually going to probably reduce the weight of those. We forgot to kind of make a big sort of notch in the backside just to knock the weight down, but that's not a big deal to do that after the fact. Anyway, that's kind of how it sits in there, and the idea is that when it's sitting there, it's nice and flush, and then you basically push on the front side of it to get it to come up, and then it will engage, and then you'll be able to pull on it to actually open the doors, and obviously the reverse mechanism for closing and locking or latching the doors. So what remains now is I actually have to create another little fixture jig so we can drill the hole in the actual indentation in the door there, and put the bushings in there for that sort of hinge rotation point. So that's another project to do, but anyway, once we've created that jig, we only have to do it once. And I mentioned last time that we needed to use some or create some FR4 blocks for reinforcing where the anchor points are for the door locks, because of the design or lack of material on the design there that I did originally. At least for the prototype, this is how we're doing it, and we'll solve it the problem later for how production aircraft are going to be. But anyway, so I had to cut a whole bunch of these. I think there was 14 of the small ones and 6 of the larger ones, and just cut out of this 3/16 inch FR4, and obviously 4 holes drilled in each of those. So it took a little while just to go through all those, and then obviously have to cut them up. But anyway, that's another project that's done, so that's good. And so I decided that we're going to be responsible for actually creating these boxes for the door locks. So I've got the material in there to do the large boxes right now. So next week I'll be working on those as well. And yesterday morning Jeff was busy laying up this left side door frame. So there you can see it's basically done, and again double bagged, because we have those pressure intensifiers that you can see there in the channel there to help force down where the locks live, so we have a nice flat surface there on the inside of the door frame. So anyway, didn't have any problems on that. Actually moved along quite quickly on laying that up. It still has to have a little bit of work added to it, but that'll be next week. And as I mentioned last time, we're going to do some more testing on these different coupons. So this one, we've created a bunch more ready for next week. So they take a week to basically set up before we can test them. So that one there is a shear test on acrylic. And this is another one, so you can see there's just a little 1/2 inch by 2 inch wide bond there from the carbon fiber to the acrylic, and we'll be stretching those to try and pull them apart, and that's what we did the last time. So this one here, this is what the T-peel test is, where you're actually trying to pull upwards, like pull directly away instead of shearing it. And so that one is carbon fiber to carbon fiber, and that's mainly as a control. We already did that one where we did a shear test from the carbon fiber to the acrylic, and this is another one here. So we have 2 of those for testing carbon fiber to carbon fiber in case something goes wrong on the first. It's better to have 2 so you can average out the result. And this is another one with the T-peel test for the acrylic, and we're going to actually do some temperature fluctuations on that one for testing it. And meanwhile, space is sort of freeing up on some of our tables, so this one that had been sitting in the corner for a while finally got up on one of the tables and getting some sanding done on that, and that's one of the lower strake wing skins. And here's the other lower wing skin. So this one now got primed the other day and is getting the wet sanding, so it won't be long before we'll be able to wax that one and get it ready to pull the mold on that one as well. And here's that part that the guys were working on earlier for the rear of the straight tank, and you see it's been rough trimmed there, sitting next to the one from the other side, and of course those other braces there that you saw the other day. So quite a few parts now showing up. And we just picked up a new to us TIG welder, so now we have the ability to do precision welding in the shop, and most likely what we'll be doing is tacking different pieces together ourselves, and then having a professional come in and do the welding for us, especially things that are super critical. We need to have an expert doing that sort of stuff, but it's super nice to have that ability directly in our shop, not have to send out stuff now. And here's a few samples of what that produces. So that's a bit of aluminum there, just with a few beads just run along there. And here's some of our old 2x2 stuff that we use for making the platforms, and you can see how nice of a job that TIG welder does when welding up a seam there. So really happy to have that in the shop, and it didn't break the bank or anything like that. It's always good to have nice tools on board, and as I said, it's really nice to be able to bring somebody in quickly to do something rather than send it out and never see it for months like we've experienced. And lastly, Mark's getting close to finishing off the final engineering for the landing gear retraction mechanism. So here you can see the scissor mechanism there and how he's got it all sorted out. We're trying to keep it as simple as possible, but it has to hold, or has to handle quite heavy loads. You see the left side there was with it extended, and this is the right side here with it retracted. Actually, we're looking at from the front view, so it's the opposite. That's the actual left side of the aircraft there that's retracted, and the right side that's extended. Anyway, that's our update for this week, and thanks again for watching.